Do we have a weight loss problem in America? I mean, we know how to get people to lose weight. If you come to me and you say, Ali, I want to lose weight, I'm like, sure, I can get you to lose weight by tomorrow. I know what I'm doing. I'm that good. Weight is different than fat. But do we have a weight loss problem? We have failed at helping people be able to keep it off. So I would say we've got a weight maintenance problem. All these rapid transformations that people are doing, they are not sustainable approaches, and they're going to cause us to lose muscle mass and lose testosterone. So we don't want that. So there's this great debate all the time of like, well, do calories matter or do hormones matter more? It's both. And a lot of the time people say, well, I'm doing everything right. I just can't drop body fat. I just can't get rid of the belly fat, or I just don't feel like myself. And a lot of the times we think everything right only means diet and exercise. But there is so much more, just like I mentioned earlier: sleep, hunger, nutrition, cravings. I'll go in detail about this stuff, but lifestyle factors, why we don't move as much. So we can only cut our calories so low and increase our exercise so much. And this is the propaganda that is being driven towards you guys, the consumers, as things that work, quick fixes. None of this crap works. Do not waste your money. So when you walk into a supplement store, literally protein powder is great, creatine is great, pretty much not much else is gonna work. Testosterone boosters don't work, fat burners don't really work. They just crack you out with energy. And you see all these rapid transformations being advertised. Well, you can lose X amount of pounds in this amount of weeks and blah, blah, blah. Again, I'll reiterate, I can get you to lose weight by tomorrow. Doesn't mean it's gonna stay off. Doesn't mean it's actually body fat. That takes a longer time to come off. And you know what takes even longer is building muscle. But that's really the best way to make sure that body fat stays off, is taking your time, playing the long game. So I do not do any short-term coaching options. I do long-term. And one of the most important things that I have to explain to people is before and after pictures are great, but it's the after picture that is the most impressive. How many times do you see somebody's before and after? This is me after 3 weeks. Oh, this is a four-week transformation. Okay, that's great. I want to know what you look like a year later. Were you actually able to keep that off? Because very few people can, because they take a very unsustainable approach. The diet industry, everyone is confused. Men, do I eat 1,500 to 1,700 calories? And then women eat like 1,200. Who came up with this magic number? I have no idea. It makes no sense. So I'm going to explain to you exactly what your metabolism is made of and why it is so crazy to eat so little calories. So this is the most sciencey I'll get today. BMR stands for basal metabolic rate. That makes up of 70% of your metabolism. That is basically what you burn if you were to just sit down on the couch all day long. If you have a little bit more muscle, you might burn a little bit more calories, but honestly, it's not that much. So if you starve yourself and you lose a lot of muscle and you don't give your body the fuel it needs, this can actually drop this number. So usually it's around like your body weight times 10, maybe a little bit more, depending on how heavy you are. But this is the number that we care the most about. NEAT, which is 15% of your metabolism, stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Thermogenesis is fat burning. Non-exercise is unstructured activity. So doing chores, walking, taking the stairs, putting your cart back where it belongs at the supermarket, all of those activities that are not actually something you have structured make up a lot of your overall calorie burn. So that's why walking is so useful. TEF, or TEF, is the thermic effect of food. You can actually burn calories eating food. So when you eat less food, you burn less calories. That's 10% of your metabolism. And guess what's 5%? Exercise is only 5%. Only 5. So really, we don't need exercise to drop weight, but it does help to shape you. Weightlifting will provide you muscle, will provide you that V-taper that you want, will provide you that GTL, jacked and tan look that everyone highly covets. So you can respond to nutrition by lowering calories, absolutely, but Just exercising and not addressing your nutrition is not going to work as well as both of them together. So this is what your entire metabolism is comprised of, and that stands for your total daily energy expenditure. A lot of people will look up just their BMR and eat that number of calories. My BMR is roughly 1450. So for a 130-pound female, it's actually a little bit higher. If I ate just that, my body's like, cool, you're giving me enough food to just keep you alive. It doesn't care about growing muscle. It doesn't care about any extra energy that it might take to maybe, I don't know, play with your children. And it doesn't care, it sure enough doesn't care about procreation. Are you kidding me? If you're eating just enough to stay alive, your body's not gonna be like, hey, yeah, we're gonna have, stiff boners every day because we gotta procreate. It does not sense you have the energy to handle that. So how do we achieve fat loss? There's two different things that are involved. Number one is a calorie deficit. That doesn't mean a scarcity, it means a deficit. It doesn't mean we diet all year long forever and ever. We just do it a few weeks at a time. And we need to have hormonal balance. So if your testosterone is low and you feel sluggish, you feel like you can't retain muscle or even add muscle, then we're going to have issues with losing body fat and or gaining muscle. And so I always get asked, well, Ali, what is the best diet? There isn't one. It's really, what can you stick to? So a lot of people say, well, keto is a really good diet. And I'm like, for who? It depends. What is your activity level? What are your goals? Low carb, high carb. I have a lot of my guys on high carb, low fat. But if you read the latest magazine, that's really not what we're supposed to be doing. Again, it's contextual. It all depends. For short-term dieting, you can pretty much do anything you want. But for the long game, for the long term, pretty much nothing works that has a label. So the problem with labels is that you have to stick to their rules. You don't stick to the rules of you. So we want to figure out what works for you. So have we been wrong before as a society? Absolutely. Do you remember Pluto has been a planet, but then it wasn't a planet. And then maybe this year it's a planet. I'm not really sure. Is it a planet this year? I can't recall. But then fat, saturated fat, and cholesterol used to be really, really bad. But now it's really, really good. Now we're saying put butter in your coffee. How confusing is that to you guys? It's conflicting information every single day. And then it used to be, well, you have to eat 6 meals a day, otherwise your muscles are gonna fall off. Who has time to eat 6 times a day? Bro, no. You can eat 1 time a day if you want. You can eat twice. Again, what works for you and your lifestyle? That's the best diet. Then we had the zone diet in like the early 2000s or 90s. It actually wasn't terrible. Everyone got the book. They bought the bars. And then we had Atkins, which kind of resurfaced lately. It's actually been around for a while. Atkins is also a version of the keto diet, and it's been around for a very long time. But they decided, you know what, Atkins has a little bit too much saturated fat, so we're gonna replace that with the South Beach diet and maybe modulate the type of fats that we're using and create another version of keto that we can sell and make the public think that this is the best diet. And then all of a sudden carnivore, just eat meat all day long, that's all you need, nothing else. And then we're gonna also talk about being paleo, because when you're paleo, you only do CrossFit. You can't eat any other way. It's not allowed, it's part of the rules. And then celery juice, because that's going to cure you of everything that all those pharmaceutical drugs say is going to happen from a side effect perspective. So you may have anal leakage as you sneeze your way through a pollen-infatuated yard and frolic among your friends looking like you're having a great time when you're gonna just go home and shit your pants. Like, we don't want that to happen. And so the first keto document was actually in the 1800s. So it's been around for a long time. We're just finding other ways to market it. So you don't have to really stick to any labels. You guys can do exactly what you want that works for you. Find a way that works for the rest of your life, because you're gonna be eating for the rest of your life. So you might as well find a way that you enjoy, that can be done in a manner that doesn't cause you this high deprivation and moody irritability. And it supports your testosterone production, which is exactly what we want. So going back to those transformation photos and how they're a little bit unnerving, steering you the wrong way. Take this guy. vegan, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Basically, it looks like he pushed his belly out as much as he could, and then he flexed and kind of spray tanned just his abs and nowhere else. But I'm sorry, I don't necessarily consider that a massive transformation. Cool, what does he look like now? Rapid fat loss. If anyone tells you they can do rapid fat loss, run far away. Pretty sure that's not the same person. And if it is, they probably paid the guy on the right to look like the guy on the left. Quite often those transformations are actually reversed. You'll remember the Biggest Loser show, probably one of the worst shows in terms of realistic expectation when it comes to fat loss, especially for men who lost a lot of weight on those shows within a week. Here's a study that actually came out showing 6 years after that show, people have still not recovered their original metabolic rate, meaning their BMR. So they have to continue to eat such low calorie to get the results that they want, that it's not a sustainable way of living, so they pretty much have all gained weight. These are the before and after photos that I was talking about. See this guy, looking a little bit bigger. Same with this guy. I don't know their names. He's a little bit bigger. So is she. So if we think of our metabolism and then how it operates, quite often we think it operates like a calculator, where whatever we eat, we can just burn it and then it'll balance out. Doesn't work that way. So it works more like a stress barometer, because again, the harder we push on it, the harder it's going to push back. So we have to toggle back and forth as to how we eat and how we train. And so there are 4 toggles that you guys can use throughout the year, throughout your life, however it helps throughout your lifestyle. Eating less and exercising more is probably the most popular one that most people do. Eating more and exercising less is something we usually do around holidays. Eating more and exercising more, no one wants to do that. My people will do that. And eating less and exercising less is something that can be done on a holiday, or if you have a very busy day, or if you're traveling, stuff like that. You may think, okay, well, if I eat less and then I start training more, I've lost weight like that before. Oh yeah, it definitely works until it doesn't. So we have to do something to rectify that, change course, and toggle the metabolism and do something else to get your body to respond continuously. We cannot diet year round as much as we want to. We have to go through times of a little bit of weight gain, higher calories, so we can actually get our body to respond again on lower calories. So eating more and exercising less is the couch potato mentality, where you're sitting on the couch, you're not gonna move that much, but you're just gonna eat a lot. This actually does work well for people during a holiday when they decide, I'm not gonna be able to train as much, I'm not gonna go to the gym, I have family coming over, stuff like that. If you've been dieting for a really long time, this could actually be useful. So the scale will go up after a few days of this. That is okay. You can't gain fat overnight like this. You can eat a lot of foods that carry a lot of water in them, just like carbohydrates, because if you think carbohydrate, every gram of carb we eat has 1 to 3 grams of water. Those carbs are going to cause an influx of weight on the scale. It does not mean you are fatter. So this is a useful tool for holidays, but we don't want to really exceed 3-4 days of eating like this. Eating less and exercising more, as you can see with this transformation, it's not really so much a transformation because it's such a big stressor if we do this for too long that it can cause the body to look inflamed. So we can actually retain water from stress hormones, and our body is like, yo, what are you doing? And we will retain this water in areas that we store fat, so we will feel fat, but we're just inflamed. And so this is the dieter's mentality, and this is what most people do, because you think, all right, it's logical if you eat less and train more, but that will only work for so long. So we have to go through periods of higher calories and lower calories in order to achieve ultimately what we want. Eating more and exercising more, that is what athletes do. So if I said to you, hey, Michael Phelps is going to diet his way through Olympic training, I think that would be a little bit puzzling, and you would say that that's stupid. I would think so too. Same with Usain Bolt. If these guys told you that they were dieting through that training, that makes no sense. Training more demands more fuel. More fuel will go into the muscles if you're training more. Simple as that. So this is probably one of the harder things to get people to do, but if you're home for a couple weeks, you know you can hit the gym, there's absolutely no reason why you can't try to increase your calories to meet the demands of that training. And then eating less and exercising less is fantastic also for travel. This is what a lot of Europeans do. If you notice, they're very lean. They're not overly muscular, but they are lean because if you're not training as much and you're actually walking a lot, you're going to be less hungry. And so there's going to be less demand for fuel. So you're naturally going to eat a little bit less, but you will be moving a lot. And walking is fantastic because it does not have this massive impact on our appetite. Whereas excessive cardiovascular work, like if you're riding the Peloton a lot or if you're running a lot, you're going to get more hungry. Walking actually reduces stress, reduces our stress hormones, and allows us to calm down, which many of us do. Let's start walking as much as we can. It's going to be a very beneficial thing to making you come less stressed, to work, to life, to everything. So SHMECL is my abbreviation for being able to assess your biofeedback personally. The acronym is sleep, hunger, mood, energy, cravings, and libido. Those are all things that you can assess personally to see, are you eating enough? Are you sleeping enough? Are you training enough, hard enough, all of that stuff. So are you sleeping enough? How's your sleep? Is it disrupted? Are you waking up a lot? How is your hunger? If you're ravenously hungry, just eat more. How's your mood? Are you irritable? Do you have crazy cravings? How's your energy? So all of these things can contribute to if you're training too much or maybe eating too little or maybe both. And then your libido, is your libido off? That can also be affected by having too much stress. So take into account sleep, hunger, mood, energy, cravings, and libido. Assess where you're at, and then accordingly just add or subtract activities that may help or take away from your ability to recover from your training and to be able to live a happy life and a very bountiful boner life.